This is my cat, and the source of many a hair on a model. And this is Ground Affected, the channel that helps you learn how to 3D print and paint just like I can. And in today's video, this is going to be part 3 of where to find the best STLs for printing. STL stands for Standard Tessellation Language, which is essentially just a really fancy word for 3D model that's inside of your computer. And once again, I have done previously 2 videos on where to find STLs from amazing artists and also some great websites on the internet. And in this video, I'm going to cover some of the ones that I missed out in the previous videos. Hopefully by now, you have bought yourself a 3D printer. You've probably gone through the motions of 3D printing, the general things that every 3D printer ever starts to 3D print. And you've gone through the standard practice of 3D printing everything you can possibly find on Google and Thingiverse. And now, if you're watching this video, you more than likely have got an inkling in towards printing and painting much larger things. In fact, more complicated and more specialist type things. And of course, if that is what you're planning, then this is the best place for you to be. In the first video, I had gone over a couple of my favorite creators and just places where you can essentially find 3D printed files. The comments were filled with, but you missed this guy, and what about this dude, and what about this other one? Well, I made another video covering some of those people that I happened to miss. Although I never really missed them, I just couldn't fit everybody all in one video, because otherwise it would be an hour-long video and nobody's gonna watch that. So after making the second one, I realized that there was still more people that I had missed. And of course, even after making this third one, there is still going to be more people that I've missed. But I can still open your eyes to the kinds of files and artwork that is available currently to you right now. So let's start out with one of my favorite people of all time upon the internet, and this is Genesis. Essentially, Genesis used to have a Patreon called Genesis, and he used to create large-scale 1/6 custom collectible statues. Over the time, he's changed his kind of direction, and now he's got a team of people and is working on a new Patreon, which is called C27 Miniatures and Terrain. You will have seen me paint 1 or 2 of these models on my channel, and these are absolutely incredible sculpts. The work that gets put in is really amazing. Not to mention that they all come pre-supported, as well as they come with the files from Lychee themselves, so you can increase the size if you wanted to, say, make them from a 32mm miniature up to a 75mm miniature, or perhaps even larger if you can fit it on your printer. C27 has multiple tiers for you to sign up to, and those give you different options, namely a miniatures pack and terrain kit, as well as a merchant tier. So if you would like to be able to sell 3D prints from this specific Patreon, you have that option with the merchant tier. Now, a merchant tier, all that means is that you're able to print those files and then sell the physical printed version. You cannot sell the files. Please don't be one of those people selling files on the internet. Don't share the files, don't give them to your friends. Even though you think you're doing a nice thing, you're not. You're stealing from an artist. If your friend wants the file, your friend must buy the file. That's the way this works. They're not expensive, so unfortunately, if your friend asks for the file, just freaking tell him, no, I don't give you the file, bruh, because then I'm stealing from the artist and he's not going to be able to feed his children. And as you can see, you get quite a wide variety of models, as well as a load of different terrain pieces and things like that. And one of my personal favorite from a recent release is this dude from the April release. This is very obviously Craven, and if anybody knows me, I have an absolute obsession with Spiderman and Spiderman things. And of course, we've never even seen, or at least I haven't seen, an STL for Craven. And in this case, this makes me extremely happy to be able to have an STL of Craven, so I can paint him and put him on my own shelf right next to Spider-Man. Sure, he's a miniature, but I can blow him up as big as I really want, to be fair. Probably won't do as well as a 1/6 scale miniature, but you could probably blow these guys up to about 1/10 and get away with pretty good details even at that level. And while we're still on miniatures, I've got another one that I'd like to show you, which I think is a very good value for money, as well as extremely helpful for those first starting out and not really sure how to support or do anything like that. This specific company gives you the models, it gives you them in different sizes, as well as pre-supported, as well as they offer painting tutorials for their models as well. And this company is called Loot Studios. I'm pretty sure you've heard about Loot Studios, and if you haven't, then I'm going to be the first one to introduce you to something that makes 3D printing for miniatures extremely easy. This is a very similar style to something like Patreon, where you pay a monthly fee and you get a group of models every month, and this is obviously something that works out really great for people who are beginners and also not really sure about how to do what they're doing with their 3D printers. This is essentially the area that I started off in. So if I just take you through to show you what you get, this is what you get for the files for May. Apparently this is only $15. You get 71 miniatures, and the theme is the City of Portals for the month of May. One of the best things about Loot is that they do give you different size options, so you can get them in 32mm and 75mm, and they pre-support both sizes for you. They also give you busts, which obviously if you are a display painter or a miniature painter who wants to start painting for display, this is something that is really helpful so that you can print your own busts to be able to paint to the next level of painting. As you can see, you also get a pretty healthy sized welcome pack, and this company is extremely as best as they possibly can be. If you haven't tried out Loot, I would have a look at Loot and see if it's something that fits your budget, or at least even fits your preferences for what you would like to print and paint. Next up, we have VX Labs. VX Labs, again, I don't think they have a Patreon or anything. It's not really a subscription-based platform, but it is a website from a sculptor who sculpts things like MJ over here. So this was the original sculpt for MJ, and this is where I got it from. This came from vxlabs.com. Now I have to be extremely careful on this page because unfortunately there are some not safe for work models on here as well. So if you're into that kind of thing, of course you might want to have a look at this. I personally am not into not safe for work kind of models. I do like pinups, and I do really enjoy the way that, for example, people like J.S. Campbell draw pinups, and I really like the way that VX Labs is able to capture the pinup vibe with these models as well. I have done a video on painting this specific MJ, as well as the wonder that VX Labs had sculpted. Both of these are incredibly great models. They print amazingly well, details are excellent, as well as the keys and cuts fit extremely well. I haven't had any issues with anything from VX Labs so far in the testings that I've done with some of their prints. And as I said, I'm not really sure if this is a subscription based model, but I do think that what happens is he produces a model once a month, and these are something that you can look into if you would like to purchase these kind of models. The only way I know personally how to do it is to go directly to his website and look at the model that you want to get and then just purchase it straight from him. This way, at least you know the artist is getting 100% of what they're trying to sell their artwork for. Next up is someone called Francis Quez. I'm so bad with pronouncing names, so just ignore whatever I said. It's this Francis guy. This guy's artwork is really incredible. I love the motion, I love the feel, I love the way that the entire composition of the pieces feel and look to me. They're incredibly well detailed and look amazing. I haven't printed anything from this guy yet, but I've seen a lot of work from him printed and painted online, and they look absolutely amazing. Again, it appears that there are multiple different tiers for you to select from. It looks as if you are able to sell 3D prints even on the lowest tier from this guy. I guess it makes sense. Obviously, you're not allowed to sell any of the files. Do not share the files. I'm not going to say it again. Don't share the dang files, bruh. Also, this dude definitely needs a hell of a lot more patrons than 98. If you want to go and join Francis Quez, then please have a look at the link in my description. The welcome pack gives you some pretty amazing models, and it looks like this dude is producing monthly a full-scale statue every month. It also appears that his welcome pack changes monthly. These are some amazing models. Honestly, if you enjoy the pinup style and want something that looks incredible on your shelf, then I'll definitely have a look into this Patreon by Francis. Like I said, unfortunately, I have not printed anything from this guy yet, but from what I've seen online, the prints look absolutely top notch. And one more person that I do need to give a little shout out to is CA 3D Art, and this is someone who creates, again, incredibly amazing models. It's a different style. They're also slightly more realistic, which is not really up my alley, but I do enjoy the models that he creates. And one of my patrons absolutely adores this guy and is printing and painting a whole load of his work currently. And this artist is on Patreon. Again, it's one of those though, however, where you don't get to see much of the work because it's hidden behind the Patreon paywall. But one of the best things to do if you see an artist like this and you want to know what their work looks like, you can look them up on a place like Instagram. Instagram is never going to lie to you, especially if they're posting consistently online. And this is a good way for you to see the kind of works that this guy does. Like I said, I have seen these things printed by other people. I've not personally painted anything or printed anything from him, but the works do look incredibly amazing. Once again, there are different tiers for you to join. In his case, you have the lower tier, which allows you access to the models, and if you join the higher tier, you have then access to the models and permission to sell the prints, not the files, just sell the prints. Now, of course, if you've made it all the way through to this far in a video and you haven't clicked off yet, then perhaps you want to consider giving me a like and a subscription. And if it was good enough for you, it's probably good enough for your grand too. I'd like to thank my current patrons for all the support that they give me, and also for helping me keep my eyes blinded by these powerful lights across my face. And if you have any creators or sculptors that you think I should show in a future video, then please leave their name, perhaps a link to them, in the comment section below. Of course, tell me who your favorite is, and if you didn't like anything you saw, there's only one thing that I have left to say to you at this point in a video. You just need to click the dislike button and then f*** off. So I think if I just charge 10 grand per featured artist and then I'll just send the bill now, that's a good idea.